Welcome to the Shannon Atchison Show, real business talk for real life. I'm Shannon, creative business coach, digital product lover, and your strategy sidekick. I've built a business that fits my life, and now I help other women do the same. No hustle, no fluff, just smart, honest conversations about building a business that works for you. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have Lisa Bass here with me today. I'm going to read her short but super totally matches who she is bio. Lisa's a mom of 8 and then some, coming soon, who is passionate about home design, homesteading, and making real food and a cozy home for her family. Lisa, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to chat with you about your business and all the things.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, so you are a mom of 8, but if I'm correct, it's going to be 9 this summer, I think.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's fun. Oh my gosh. And so you've shared that online already. So
yeah.
by the
Yes.
time this goes, it's all good.
Yep.
So we're going to talk mostly about business. I know everything sort of focuses around family, like how you've built your business and all of that. But can you sort of take us back to the beginning? Like, how did you start Farmhouse on Boone to begin with, which is your blog? I know you've got other things too, but how did you start the blog to begin with?
Yeah. So the first thing I started was my blog, which there's not many of us like that. What's funny is it felt not late, but kind of already late to start a blog back then, which is weird. I was like, well, why would I start a blog now? Everybody's already started a blog. And it's funny because that was in almost 16, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, early 16, late 15s when I started tinkering around with the blog. And so it's really funny now because I'm like, that was a nice long time ago.
Yeah.
It was not that late. And there wasn't Instagram was a thing, but it wasn't a big thing. I didn't even have it. I didn't even have the app until much later. Not much later, but yeah. And then, I just started the blog because I read blogs and I thought, I have something to contribute here. I've already been a homemaker, a mom for about 10 years at that point, or almost. Yeah. And so I already learned to make sourdough bread. I already learned how to sew. I already learned some basic homesteading things. I have something to offer, how to cook. And so I started it just with that in mind. It was very broad. And now I almost do exclusively food on my website. So that's changed a lot because in the beginning it was very much a mix of projects, recipes, DIYs, sewing projects. And now it's pretty much only food.
Okay. So 2 questions. 1, did you start it as a hobby or as a business? And then 2, did that niching down happen by accident or was that deliberate?
So I started as a business, which I feel like is unusual.
It is.
Usually people say it was just a passion and it turned into money.
Yeah.
And I didn't start it that way. I definitely thought there's an opportunity here. So I want to, take advantage of that. Plus, my husband, the job that he worked, we knew we wanted to do some kind of family business. We knew that he wouldn't be there forever. So this seemed like a really good avenue to start pursuing. So, very intentionally started it as a business, but I definitely did not know what I was doing. So I wasted a lot of time. The goal was to make money, but I didn't know how to do that. And then the niching down, that was the question, was that intentional? It was intentional after realizing what worked over the years. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it wasn't, I have a lot of friends who get really and this is probably because I started it as a business, which it almost feels wrong to say, but they have certain things.
When I started mine, it was as a business too, which was not the thing. Okay. I started in 2010. So
yeah. Well, there's friends of mine who are like, well, I could never transition to recipes because my heart and my soul is in the home projects. And I'm like, see, I'm cool with whatever works because this is not okay, I don't mean it it's not my passion project because it also is. I really enjoy my work. I enjoy sharing with people and helping people and all of that. I'm not saying I don't. But if the opportunity arises to pivot to some part of that I really love, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to be married to the fact that home project, as you know, content on a blog doesn't work. And so I'm not going to spend my time. Like, I love it. I still share it on my YouTube channel. We're currently in the process of designing a new house. And so I'm very much doing that, and I'm sharing it, and I'm sharing it on Instagram. Just the website is not the place for it. And I've learned that over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good point, because I think whether people started for hobby or for business, I think we tend to get really stuck in what we've maybe always done, not even just like the stuff that we love, but what we've always done. And it's like, can I actually like put that on pause and pivot a little bit to something else that's going to work better from a business perspective? I think that's a really awesome point. I love that. So you wrote a book, you have a podcast, you have a YouTube, which is really strong as far as I understand, and then you have the blog. But I've noticed in the past that, well, now and in the past, that your podcast is kind of separate from your blog, which is kind of separate from YouTube. That was on purpose? Explain that a little bit.
Well, in the ideal world, they would all be very, very connected. It'd be really easy. You could repurpose, your blog for your podcast, for your YouTube, for your Instagram. I used to do all that.
Right.
And those are very different platforms with very different expectations from the listeners, the viewers, the audience, and just like the format. You're right. It's totally separate. They're all separate businesses. If I had to, like, they're all under the same business name, sort of. I mean, I guess the podcast isn't, but I run them all as a business, but they're all very separate and distinct parts of the business. Yeah.
And how long have you been you said you used to do it as like one big umbrella thing and sort of repurpose. How long has it been that you've separated them out?
I would say when I really started building out my team, because there's only so much bandwidth you have. So I would say it's probably been about 5 years or so, or something like that. I mean, I still, like, my Instagram is still a lot of repurposed content from my YouTube channel, but it doesn't do great. Like, I know if you want to do well on Instagram, you need to put your brain into Instagram and film for Instagram. And so I don't have that capacity. Right. So it still doesn't do great. But yeah, as far as like taking the same content from YouTube, stripping out the audio, making it a podcast, it doesn't work to repurpose like that.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. No, that's really neat that you have observed that, like, because they are very different. I think it depends on what your end goal is. If you want to have your focus be Instagram, then obviously you're going to shoot for Instagram. But if you're there because people are there, then it's okay to repurpose.
Yeah, and it won't do as great. Like, don't think you're going to get the best engagement. You won't. No. Like, I've tried to hand that over, and I handed it over, but with the understanding that it won't be what it could be if I were to decide that I'm going to do Instagram. But I have learned that with the parts that require a lot of myself personally, I can't do that many things. Like, I can't think about, like, my week I'm thinking about filming some things for YouTube. I can't think about both. I always thought for the longest time, sure I can. Like, I'll just film everything horizontally and vertically. And then it's just a whole different format. It's not even a matter of filming vertically or horizontally. It's thinking about, like, just you present it in a whole different way.
Right. Yeah, no, it's totally different from that perspective. That's true. So the book is a few years old now.
Yeah, my first book. And then I have a cookbook. That's my more, right. I launched a cookbook last fall, and that's definitely like a more popular book, but my book that was in like the home and DIY type of niche, it was back in 2020. It actually launched in February of 2020, so it got kind of a difficult little start.
Yeah, my first one launched in September 2020.
Okay, so
it was good and bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Sort of, what sparked what made you think you wanted to write books? Did people come to you? Did you just really have this desire to write books? Would you write books again, like you just did one last year? Like, has it been something that you have found to be beneficial business-wise, or just something that you enjoyed, or?
Books.
A whole different world than online.
They're hard.
They are. Yeah.
I would probably, I want to say I would never write a book again because of how much work they actually
Yeah.
take. Both times it was because somebody came to me.
Okay.
The only reason I would say it would be beneficial to write a book, because it's not money. You and I both know. It's not money.
That's
There's like
real.
way better ways to make money
Yeah.
online.
And
Just
faster.
significantly better ways.
Yeah.
But right now, so there's a big shakeup happening in the SEO world with Google, with AI, with helpful content. If you're in that space, you know what I'm talking about. Helpful content updates, things like this. And having a book puts a lot of expertise behind your name, so a lot of authority behind your name. So my blog ranks for things that are sourdough. And so having a sourdough book really props that up and props me up as an expert. And so that was the advantage I saw in it. Again, this is like all, I sometimes feel bad, like I'm so practical with stuff because
No, it's
my
good.
passion. I mean, I do. It's a beautiful book. I like the end result, but again, like I don't take time away from my family unless there's a good reason to do it.
Right.
And so, yeah, just the money alone would not be enough.
That's fair. No, that's fair. I think you're saying you feel bad about it, but I think I'm thinking my audience is mostly creatives, and it's something that creatives need to hear sometimes, to be a little bit ruthless in the choices that you make and the things that you choose to spend time on, because we tend to get a little either shiny object syndrome or a little wishy-washy in the creative world of things and don't decide based on business principles.
Yeah.
Right? Like what's going to affect the bottom line. So I think that's a really good thing. I love that you're saying that, honestly. So I remember, so you have had courses too. I know you had Create Your Blog Dream, and then you have a YouTube course. I know the blog one you sort of just put on pause or shut down.
Yep, just did.
Tell me a bit about the course, like what led you to create that, how it did for you, like business wise, since we're talking those decisions, and then what made you decide to sort of hit pause on that.
So I built my first course, Create Your Blog Dream, the summer after my husband came home from his job. So he came home in May of 2018, and I was like, wow, like I unlocked something. Like, now we had 5 kids and my husband was home with me. And so I felt like that was a big success. It wasn't like I was making like so much money, but it was enough to support our family, and then we could work together. We'd have more time. And I was like, that seems like a really good time to put together a course.
Yeah.
And it did very, very well. Like it was a big portion, percentage wise, of our business for many years. And it remained what was crazy about that course is it sold every day, the whole time, multiple times a day. Like it never didn't. And that never stopped even when I decided to sunset the course. But what happens with the blog industry is every about 6 months, I'd have to do a full revamp, like go through the entire thing. And that was really worth it for a long time because of the percentage of the business. That seemed like very good time spent because, it was such a large portion.
Right.
But once the actual blogging and the other aspects of the business so far surpassed that, it was still selling every single day, but that became a smaller and smaller percentage when things like a blog eclipse that when you start ranking for things. And it just didn't seem like, it seemed like it was getting to a point where it needed a significant update again. And I'm like, but my time is so much better spent actually doing the thing that I'm teaching people.
Okay.
And so it was a real difficult decision because it was still selling so well. Like I was taking something that was selling every day and just being like, no more. But I got to the point where it just really was starting to stress me out that I needed to update it so badly. And then my time was going to be so much better spent elsewhere. So that's why I stopped selling it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have the YouTube course too, or the videos course too, right?
Yes, I still have the YouTube course. That world hasn't changed nearly as fast as blogging, especially in the last couple years. Blogging, from what I was doing in 2018, and then, well, what's funny is it's had a lot of iterations like over the years, and it's sort of coming full circle, oddly.
Okay.
Like where you're creating a personal brand. You're not just focusing on SEO and keywords. that has come full circle, but the course, it followed all of what was happening over the years. And what's odd is it came back around, but I mean, in some sense, like it's not the same thing it was in 18, but in a lot of ways, there's some similarities that weren't there even 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube's been not near as volatile as far as the
Yeah.
changes.
Right. Okay, so that one's still going. You still have that one.
That one's still going, yes. But
Yeah,
it's
maybe
never
not
been
that
as
big.
successful as the blog course. Never.
Interesting. Okay.
It sells, but nothing
Yeah.
like the other one did. Nothing
Yeah,
like-
yeah. No, fair. Okay, so without getting into specifics or anything, so since you've shut that down, obviously, where does your revenue come from now? So there's the blog, the podcast, the YouTube channel, like where, I guess not in money specifics, but like
the biggest percent.
percentages, not percentage, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah. So
proportions, I guess.
the significant portion currently comes from the blog itself, just from the
Okay.
ads on the blog. I continue to build up my YouTube for a few reasons, because it's very time consuming and the blog pays so much better. In a lot of ways, it doesn't make sense. Like, well, why would you keep spending so much time on something when something else is earning so much more money? But for me, the reason for that, there's a few. One, again, it builds up my expertise and my authority, because I share the same recipes on those videos in more of a lifestyle vlog type of format that I share on my website. So instead of it just being like kind of an anonymous website like most are, there's like the real person who's making the recipes in my own kitchen, testing them on the YouTube channel. And so it really is a great supplement for it. It helps people see like the actual hands-on application, how it's put into meal plans and it's used to feed a large family. And then also, I am a person who believes heavily in diversification, because if you've been a blogger in the last 2-3 years, there's been significant volatility. Like,
Yeah.
what has happened has been some bloggers have lost all their rankings, all their keywords. Some have continued to go up, and I'm one of those people. So it hasn't been financially impactful, but I know it could happen. Like, I'm not
Right.
immune from that. I'm not like
Right.
on, some special list with Google that says don't ever touch her. Like, it's not like that.
Yeah.
And so I keep doing YouTube. I keep podcasting, even though like money-wise, maybe, it doesn't directly seem to be as beneficial. But I think overall, like if Google hit me with some of those updates, well, I still have YouTube. So we'd still be good,
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And so a question about the podcast then. The podcast, do you use more for, because I don't think you have ads in the podcast, do you?
I do, yes.
Oh, okay.
I have dynamically inserted ads, but they're they're
No.
nothing compared to YouTube and the blog.
So the podcast is more, I'm assuming then, for like connections and getting other people in front of your audience and your audience, that sort of.
Yeah,
cross.
it all feels very connected, even though there's not like direct money from it
Right.
in the same way. But if ever bandwidth got super low, the podcast would be the first to go. Like, I've threatened it. I've threatened it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Do you think your niche of like, homesteading, simple living, homemaking, that sort of thing, do you think that has played into your growth a lot? Like, I know you deliberately do recipes, but do you think that the overall niche that you have as being sort of a homemaker and a large family and on a farm, do you think that plays into sort of your traffic and that sort of thing and your growth?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that it became a very trending thing. Like, it definitely was the right thing to be in, unbeknownst to me. Like, it was just something I was into.
Yeah.
But it went from a very niche interest to a very mainstream interest. Like, same with sourdough. I was writing sourdough recipes back in 2016. And that was just kind of like, what's that? Like, nobody searched it,
Sure.
nobody cared. And then here I was with my starter, and COVID happened, and it
Yes.
became a very niche interest to a very popular, like, people you never even thought would make cookies now have a sourdough starter.
It's true. It's so true. Yeah, that grew up for sure.
Yeah.
where do you think most of your new audience, so obviously you probably have people who come back again and again and again, but where do you think most of your new audience is coming from these days? Is it sort of, this is kind of what I asked too, but YouTube, podcast, blog, Pinterest, or something else?
Well, other than like Google searches, because that's for sure where the highest numbers come
Okay.
from, but
Yeah.
those feel like sort of random people. Like I don't think they might make my bread all the time and literally have no clue who I am. Like they probably never clicked about me.
Okay.
They could be like so far beyond my usual demographic. So I don't know if you really want to count that, but like my audience that's more of a I'm going to follow along with all the things you do. I think YouTube probably brings in the most of those.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So are you actively doing anything to grow your reach right now, or is it more just showing up consistently with your content and stuff like that?
Yeah, for years I've just been showing up consistently with the content. I'm always like, well, I just don't have the bandwidth. Like, if I wanted to grow by millions and millions and millions of eyeballs, what you would do is you would put all of your thoughts into TikTok and Instagram and like capturing some of those, big trends, all the things that work on
Right.
on those platforms. But
Right.
I have not mentally been there for so many years, and so I just keep like plugging away at my YouTube and my blog and my podcast and just
Yeah.
kind of letting people join in.
Yeah. Consistency makes a huge difference. It like that will win out every time over someone who is sporadic with anything.
It's worked for me, and people will ask me like I have course students, I have private Facebook groups, and so I get a lot of questions, and people will say, well, like, how did you take a break during your, like, when you had a baby? Because since starting, I've had five, no, not five, that's not right. Four babies, I guess. Yes, I've had four
Okay.
babies, all while having a blog, a YouTube channel, all of that.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And I still won't, and you can, that's totally fine. It just depends on, what your goals are, but like I'll work ahead. So I do work ahead, and I also have a team and all of that, but to like I've never had a time in the last since 2016 that some kind of content didn't go out from me every single week.
Okay. That's some pretty good consistency there. That's like 90 days.
Yes.
Good job. Okay, so let's talk about team for a second. What was the first sort of position, or what were the first things you passed off? And would you do that the same if you were starting over now?
So I started building a team really early. The first thing I passed off was I had physical products where we literally sewed like Farmhouse soft goods in my home and
Yep.
shipped them out. And
I
so
remember
the
that.
first thing I did was I brought in some local homeschool teenagers who sewed and shipped because I could not do a blog and sell the physical products. And I'm really glad I made that decision because at the time, the shipping of those products was a more profitable thing for me. But ultimately, like as soon as the blog and the YouTube and all of that, like the digital forms went above that, that was the first thing to go because it was the most time consuming thing. You never have any residual income from it. You make $10 on that sale, and that's $10 and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it was like the first thing to go. But I hired someone out for that. And then I hired out, I think the next thing I might have hired was a blog writer. But, I've had like lots of things that haven't worked out where I took that back on myself. And then I maybe found somebody who would be more qualified for it. But
Right.
it's been a process over the years.
Yeah, yeah. And so now, sort of, what does your team look like? Like, what do you pass off? I'm assuming a lot.
A lot.
A
A
lot.
lot.
Yeah.
So much.
That's great. No, that's good.
Yeah. I have a lot on my team. So I have, like, for the podcast, my team will book the interviews, make the outlines, make the supporting, emails that go after to promote it. So the only thing I really need to do is show up and
Sure.
talk for an hour a week, right? All
Yeah.
the editing, all of that. Tons of help on the blog on helping with recipe testing and recipe photography and writing the post. And, I'm involved in it all, but tons of help with all of it.
Right. Yeah.
I even have somebody whose whole job is to communicate with all those people and keep everybody going in the same direction, and like just like dealing with all those little things. Like all of a sudden Google Search Console sends you, we found this problem on your
Yes.
website, and kind of
Yep.
submitting that to NerdPress, and just dealing with all those little things. I have people for that because I'm like, I'm
That's
wasting
awesome.
all of my time on the things that I'm good at, is like being in my kitchen, coming up with ideas, sharing how to practically implement things as a mom. And I just need all of that to become content.
Right. Right. So you're definitely treating it like you're the CEO and you're doing what only you can do and passing off the things that you don't have to touch. You don't have to be the one to do them.
Yeah, and I forget who said it, but it's called like your zone of genius.
Yes.
And there's still things I do that, probably like should be passed off. But as much, I have a bookkeeper, I have just literally all those little things that we spend all of our busy time in our office doing. I try to pass off at just like as much as possible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
have. Yes.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So with that being said, and like your family and stuff, how many hours ish a week are you working right now?
I average about 12 hours a week. So
Okay.
I get a afternoon block Monday through Thursday. And that's worked for many years. It
Yeah.
works by, my husband's home at the baby's nap. But if the babies wake up,
Yeah.
he's home too. I have teenagers. I have older kids. But it's funny because still most of my time, even though people see, the part they see is all of that time. Like when I'm filming, like right before I got
Right.
on with you, I was making some soup, some baguettes that'll all go on a YouTube video. They're recipes from the blog. So that's what people see. But then this morning, and as soon as I get off of this, I have more kid stuff. Like we're heading up to the farm. We're going to talk to the builder. There's just like, that's most of my day.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, when I started, I was homeschooling my kids too. They're now in their early 20s. So, and they live here, but they're in their early 20s, either at school or at work. And that was how I used to have to do it too. It was quiet time in the afternoon. Well,
Yeah.
right? Like, yeah. No,
Yeah, and
that's awesome.
I did that like before my husband came home. Even the older kids, because at that time, if it was, what was that, 7 years ago, I guess my oldest was around 9, I guess 8. No, oh my goodness, 9. She's 16.
Yeah, it's a blur.
However that works. We did quiet time. So
Yep.
I couldn't quite get away with 3 uninterrupted hours. And this
Right.
one's still not. I just put the baby to bed right before this. But I can almost pretty much count on that Monday through Thursday now. And then Friday, we usually make some other kind of plan. Like we'll go out to a field trip type of thing, the pool, something like that. But I can count on it better now. But even then, it was interrupted because I'd have to maybe say, okay, we're going to keep being quiet, or we're going to go back to our room. And it's not, so simple, but we always did it.
Yeah. Yeah, we did it too. We did it when our kids were really little, and we started quiet time for us when I was pregnant with our third, because the second one stopped napping the same summer the oldest stopped napping.
So all of a sudden you had,
4 and 1.5, and all of a sudden I'm pregnant and nobody's napping anymore. And I'm like,
nope.
no. So we've done quiet time. We did quiet time for years. Like,
Yeah,
honestly, like
kids can be in their rooms,
decades.
coloring, doing
Yeah.
Legos.
Yeah.
It's
Like you said, it doesn't necessarily give you hours and hours of a block of time, but you can get things done and then just go, hey, we're still being quiet, and then get some more things done. So that totally works.
And you have to be really careful with what you do during those hours. That's what I learned. Because there's certain things that are like, we have all this work we have to do, and there are certain things on that are way more fun than others, right? Like there's certain things that we hate and certain things that are fun. And we could fill those hours with all like the piddly stuff if we're not careful.
True. No, that's so true. That's so true. Let me see. What other questions we have? Oh, if you were starting fresh today, what would you focus on first? So like if you were going to start online business today, what would you focus on first? Would you do SEO research? Would you jump into YouTube? Would you do blog? What would you do?
Okay, so this question's different from what would you do if you were starting over back in 2018 when you started. This is
Yes.
2025.
Yeah. I mean, you could say
yeah.
what you would have done differently when you started then, but it may or may not
I feel like they're
translate.
definitely
Yeah.
different answers
Yeah.
because
Fair.
yeah, I would have gone all in on the blog with all the knowledge I have right now if this
Okay.
was 2018. If it's 2025, I'm so torn on that. I am so torn because as a blog educator, I still see so many people having success with it. But then I also have so many people say like it just doesn't work the same as it used to. And
Right.
that's another reason why the course it's hard for me as someone who has had a blog for so long to really say what it would be like. I have not started a new blog since then. I haven't.
Right.
And so I know what works, but I also know what works for, for somebody. I know what works for me. I know what works for me.
Right.
I keep
Right.
I do keep a pulse on what's going on, but there's a wide variety of things that people say. So it's
True.
so hard to know. I think I would go full into if I had nothing going on and my goal was to maybe turn a profit as quickly as possible. I think I would go full in on YouTube for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And as far as sort of how you choose a topic or a niche, how would you decide that now?
Well, I would do the same type of niche. I will say that what I am doing right now on YouTube has become definitely way more saturated. Like the style of videos that I make have become more saturated too. So maybe I would switch up the format, but heavily focused on title and thumbnail ideas and putting a lot of emphasis on those. I would still be in the homemaking niche.
Yeah.
It's hard. Everybody has to find their own path
True.
in some ways. But for me, that's been people that I have seen just start brand new businesses who had nothing before, no social following, no nothing, turn the fastest profit on YouTube. Because maybe I just don't know what I'm doing, but like on Instagram and all that, I feel like you can get really high numbers that look really cool, but don't really yield a ton of money.
No, vanity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanity metrics, right?
Yes. And so, or doing something like that, but then having a very clear product you're promoting, like a
Right.
course or
Right.
an ebook or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a product is a good thing for pretty much everybody to have, regardless of whether that's your main thing that you're focusing on or whether it's ad revenue or something else or coaching or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there needs to be some variety or like different places that you're getting your income from. I think is a good thing.
Yes. Being diversified.
Yes, that's the word.
Yeah.
What is your favorite, like, if you're doing like research on keywords and stuff, what is your favorite, or research on business stuff in general? What is your favorite sort of tool or go-to? Like,
I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. I try to stay really up on what's happening in the blog world specifically because that impacts me a lot. There's a lot changing with AI, so much.
yeah,
So I try to, stay up on it all. But I find all of it very interesting. Like this is
yeah,
what's fun for me to listen to would be business podcasts and
okay,
interviews like this one. I listen to them all the time. I think they're very interesting. I like hearing how different people do different things. And it's so funny too, because with anything online business, everybody has something they swear by. This is how it's done. This is
yes,
what you need to do. And there's just so many different ways to do it. And so that's another thing that's been kind of hard about being an educator for online business type stuff is there's a lot of ways to do it. And I try to present it like that, but you could literally listen to two back-to-back experts who say the exact opposite thing. And I have my own perspective. I'm like, neither one of you are right from my perspective, but like it must
right.
work for you.
Yeah. And I think that's where you find, like, when you're gonna learn things, you find someone that sort of meshes with what you think, or like you tend to be on the same page about things, right? And
Yeah.
you kind of just go, I'm not gonna listen to like something else.
Yeah. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Because people have different lives too. Like,
Hmm.
I'm in a season of life where there's just certain things I can't do. And when I hear people say it, I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. Like, that's just
Yeah.
not going to
Yeah.
work. I got too much
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah. And that's good to know that. I think that's another takeaway is you need to know what season you're in and what your bandwidth is for what you can do, right? Like, yeah, I mean, Instagram has never been my focus, and other people are like, "Oh yeah, do everything on Instagram
Yeah,
and build everything." And
exactly.
I'm like, "No, like I no."
I know. And then I, of course, want to be just like that on the other end, be like, well, it doesn't work at all. And I'm like, well, actually, it does work too. It
Yes.
works. Like,
Yeah.
if you go full in on that, you have products to sell on Instagram, you're building your email list through Instagram. That does also work because you're building up an audience of people who need what you have. And it just comes back to those basic principles, those basic business principles. I think we think of it as like a whole different thing. Like, this is like not regular business, but it still is. Like, you have
Yeah.
something that you're offering, you're trying
Yeah.
to find people to sell it to, so to speak. Like, in a lot of ways, mine is advertising, but some people have an actual thing. Like, they have physical products, they have a course, they have an ebook, they have like their coaching, their mentorship. And there's a lot of places to find the people. You don't
Right.
have to be so married to one. I'm glad I did what I did because it feels a lot more passive, but
Yeah.
that's just all in
Yeah.
hindsight.
Right. Yeah. And I think sometimes you have to know where you're at, but you have to choose where you're going to focus because you cannot, unless you have a ginormous team, you cannot be all the places. You cannot do all the things perfectly. You do have to choose to some extent, at least for each season and where your sort of your bandwidth is at.
Well, and even if you have a big team, because I have I have a profitable business, so I can hire more people, but there's certain things that because I'm the face,
Yeah.
it
Personal
doesn't
brand.
even work
Yeah.
to hire it. Like, it's you can't just throw more money at sometimes. Like, there's just not there's certain things that you can't be replaced on, and those are where you have to put your focus because there is just only so many places you can put your brain. I just,
Yes. Yeah.
can't do it.
No, it's true. I'd love to sort of just touch on the whole thing we were talking about blogs sort of coming almost full circle, not quite, but sort of in the it was very very much like personal. Even if it was for business, it was very much us and what we were doing, and sort of our voice in things. And then over the last few years, up until sort of recently, the last year or two, it was very much let's write it for SEO and what people are searching for, and
Right.
sort of almost take your personality out of it,
Yes.
almost like. And then now it's come back around to no, if you're gonna get anywhere, you need to be like there needs to be personal brand. Like,
Yep.
speak to that a little bit as far as like personal brand and how that looks like, what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, and it's really in some ways it's anybody's guess. I feel like even the SEO experts right now are saying things that you're like, that's not what I've observed. you
Mm,
know, but it
yeah.
it seems like maybe possibly that Google has, obviously Google is the current search engine that people use, and this might
Right.
change. But right now, the sought after, what everybody wants is they want their topics to rank on Google. And it seems like in the last couple years, they've really prioritized the people who are the real people who have real experience. They're not just like finding on a SEO. You can go onto little websites and find little websites. You can go on websites and
Yes. To
find
pay to access.
topics, yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
that have high search, low competition,
Yeah.
and you can write for it, and just all of a sudden you have all these page views. And they realized that users were, instead of going to those websites, they were typing in the word Reddit after their keyword that they were putting into
Mm,
Google, because what they wanted to find out was somebody who really did it. Like, not just once, but like 25 times. Like, they used their grandma's old recipe. This was a tried and true thing because they really saw through what was happening. They realized that there
right.
was people who were just writing for whatever was going to work, and they were like, well, I want to know what like really works. And so
Right.
Google, I believe, uses lots of metrics, like how much of a following do you have on other platforms? Do people search your name when they search for your niche? Are they saying like, are they like putting your name after it because they want to hear what you have to say? And they're starting to use all of those metrics to find out if you're a real person who's really done it, who really uses the recipes or the projects that you're sharing, depending on your niche, or if you've really traveled there and you're not just finding some stock photos because it's a good opportunity for a keyword to rank, and they really penalize those websites, at least in theory. And I do think a lot of people got penalized wrongly. And I think that Google didn't always match those up perfectly. So like I said, in theory, that's the idea, is they're looking for, users want real and they want experience and not just the opportunistic type. Yeah.
Right. No, that's fair. That's fair. So that is a whole lot more personal. Like on my home website, one of my posts that does the best is like our IKEA Ektorp sofa review. They've discontinued that sofa, but people are still looking for what our experience was with it, and that's like one of the gets the most page views.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
our personal experience, right? Not some generic, like, because I'm also a teacher at heart, so like I want to teach people how to decorate their house. But when I go and I write a post about here are the steps to do XYZ, it doesn't do anywhere near as well as something that's right. So that, personally, I find that a tough one because it's like, oh yeah, so okay.
Yes. Well, and now AI will tell you. AI will pull from your website the steps for decorating a room. It'll be in the overview. And so writing for stuff like that is kind of pointless now.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, they just found that users, like Google's a business, and so they want their users to continue to use Google, and they found that they were kind of bypassing the posts they were serving and trying to find like a forum or something where people were sharing real experiences.
Right. Oops. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That explains a lot of the stuff about, people looking up Reddit and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like, when you're a real person.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, because it's hard to tell, right? On some sites. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely is. And so I think having like a lot of supporting throughout the internet, you're in all the places people are looking for you to be the expert in that area.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so sort of general questions. What are you excited about in your business right now? How's the house build going? And then any other new projects that you're quietly dreaming up. So what are you excited about in your business right now?
I don't even know.
Just plugging along and being consistent.
I have no huge things I'm working on. Well, we are launching a whole grains course. So I have a sourdough course, a sewing course, and then we're launching a whole grains course because we're trying to build out more of like the homemaking, because business courses are really hard for me to like tie in because it's not my main niche, which is fine and people buy them, but they're hard for me to like stay involved mentally in as much as the homemaking ones. So that's something that's upcoming in the business. Other than that, like just the same old stuff, to be honest with you.
No, that's good.
Yeah. YouTube, podcast, blog.
Yeah. And building out the homework. I forgot about the other courses. I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, those are what we're trying to. Those are lower price courses, and we're gonna make it to where you can bundle them together and like get like a homemaking type of thing. But that's just very slow process. Like once a year, we're compiling some stuff and doing that because I feel like the last several years, my bandwidth for being really excited about launching things has been very low. Like you get very excited in the beginning because you're building something and it's like, wow, it's working and we're going to reach our goals. And then you kind of move into a phase of where it works. We reached our goals. We're continuing to reach our goals. And I don't have that same like, I'm so excited to get to work on this. I don't stay up late at night or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm in that phase of my business. So I guess I'm sure I probably could get excited at some point about something with the business.
It's okay. No, you know what? I think it's good. And I think it speaks to your stability a little bit too in your business, that it's not so much like this. It's a little more even keel.
Yeah. Yeah. There's different phases of running a business.
Yeah.
And I'm in a different one than a lot of people who are starting out are in. Mentally, excitement level, knowledge level. Because I remember too in the beginning thinking, wow, there is always something new to learn. I am constantly just like fire hose, like I'm always learning. And now, like, yeah, I hear things, but I pretty much like have the basics like very much down. I'm not,
Right.
there's like little things, but nothing like massively always learning and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as
No.
far as the house, we are
Hmm.
fully in it right now.
Yeah.
We went up this morning. We're going
Yeah.
down this afternoon.
Oh, goodness.
Um, so yeah, I go up.
Is that because you're excited? Like, there's word again, but excited to go see it, or because you need to be on site for like decisions and direction,
We
or
need to be on site for decisions and things like that.
okay,
Yeah, we're building
okay,
and when I feel like when you say the word custom, like only like fancy comes to mind, and I don't really mean that, but like we're building a very, very custom house. Like, I
okay.
don't think I realized just how custom of a house we're trying to do here.
Oh, goodness.
So because of that, there's so much communication with the builder, like so much. Like just for like a small example, the thing that's currently the big thing is we bought antique doors for all of the like 30 doors in the house,
Oh my
which
goodness.
sounds like, when I was buying them, no big deal, right? But are they the
Okay.
same length, width?
Mm.
No.
Mm-mm.
Do they have frames around them? No. Do they have hardware, hinges,
Oh,
locks? Do they
goodness.
need, so the current thing, because the house is basically framed at this point,
Mm-hmm.
is like meeting with the guy who's gonna make the things around them and then matching them to the right spots, because we have a good idea of where they all go, but then communicating like down to the 3/4 inch, like
Yeah.
what that opening needs to be, because it's different from
Yeah.
all the other closets.
Of course.
Because I
Goodness.
genuinely want a house that looks old,
Right.
and that is very great in theory, but it's very hard. And so
Yeah.
it's all the brain can do right now. Just like so many little details we've been ironing out lately. So like the cabinetry design has already been fully underway, and I went and met with them. And because I'm working with somebody that is kind of specializes in new old houses, he kind of hooked me up with people around the country, and so there's like
Okay.
traveling involved. Um,
Gosh.
what's funny is I have a feeling at the end it's just gonna be like cool house. I'm like, there's a lot that goes into this cool house. So
Yeah, no one else will quite see
no,
all the crazy that went into it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
it'll just like look like a house. But
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
we're this on Friday we're going to an architectural salvage place because there's a few like plumbing fixtures that we need, and there's a few more doors that we need, and then we're gonna go to the appliance place. And I'm sure it's like this for everybody when you build a house to some extent, but I feel like I've
Right.
definitely complicated it like a little bit more than average.
By not having things be standard sizes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing is standard. There's just so many details that are
Yeah.
quite weird. And yeah, like another example is instead of having it look like an addition, we want it to look like an enclosed porch.
Okay.
And there's a lot of rooms that are in this enclosed porch with windows, and it's been like the most complicated, mind-blowing thing for everybody involved.
Yeah.
Seemed simple enough, but it is not. It is not.
Making those guys use their brains, I guess.
Big
Really.
time.
Yeah, yeah. I saw something about like there'll be 5 windows instead of 4 or something on one of your
Yeah,
slides. I'm like, oh
so
no.
yeah, we caught lots of little problems in the framing that
Yeah.
stemmed from not understanding that it's supposed to look like an old porch because, well, it's it's a long story.
Yeah.
And then we're simultaneously doing a barn, and
Right.
so they're gonna like pause on the house for a second because we're waiting on a few things, and they're gonna go over and do the barn. And so we ordered like all this roof sheathing because we want it to look like an old barn, and it came in like very yellow, like it's rough sawn pine, but it's very yellow. And so now Luke's
Okay.
taking this stuff that you spray on it all, but he has 2,200 square foot of sheathing that he
Oh
has
my
to like
goodness.
lay out and spray.
Yeah. Oh my
And it's just,
goodness.
we're really in it right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's no excitement for anything
You're
but
like
that.
excited for your business. I'm like, I don't have a business.
I don't know.
We're
My
building a
house, I
house.
don't know. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was all the questions I had. Is there anything else that you wanted to add or say, or I don't know?
I'm excited for your podcast. Sounds interesting.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to get it out. So
Yeah, when does it officially launch?
my goal is the end of June.
Okay. And so you're
So,
banking up some interviews that you can
I
start.
am, yeah. I had a couple people reschedule, so that's why I say my goal is the end of June.
Right.
But then a couple people had things scheduled, so I'm banking up so that I have several to release at once, and then some to put out weekly after that, so that we're not playing catch up.
Yeah.
So,
I don't feel like there's very many like good interview business shows, especially for like creative businesses, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
There's not that many, or if there are, I just don't know about them. But I love them.
Yeah, I don't think there are. I think there's a few that are very specific to certain things. You know, either building your personal brand or
that's true.
Whatever,
yes.
right? Like there's some very specific ones, but anyway.
Yeah.
So where can people find you online so that I can sort of direct them to come find you?
Yes. Okay. So Instagram, Farmhouse on Boone, YouTube, Farmhouse on Boone, website, farmhouseonboone.com. The only thing that's different is my podcast is called Simple Farmhouse Life. And I do a wide variety of different interviews, everything from home stuff like home decor, design, to food and canning and preservation and homesteading. And there's just like all the things I'm interested in. Just you could find it there on that show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today. It was so awesome to talk to you and to listen to your perspectives on business.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. That's it for today on The Shannon Atchison Show. If you found this helpful, follow the show and share it with a friend. And hey, if you're not sure what kind of business actually fits your life, take the free quiz at shannonatchison.com. It'll point you in the right direction. Thanks for listening. Talk again soon.